Hey everybody, I'm Garcia, and today we're going to be sending out our search parties and looking for treasure in Loot Island. In this game, the players are going to be managing their hand of cards, deploying those cards around the central island, visiting smaller islands off to the side, all in an attempt to gather treasure. You are going to be making sets of these treasures, scoring them at the end of the game, the whole time avoiding curse, which could eliminate you completely from the game at the end or cost you severely if you've got too many curse tokens at the end. So let's go ahead and take a look at how the game works. I'll give you a brief overview. There's actually quite a few little rules in the game, so I'll be glossing over hopefully a big part of it. But it should give you enough of an idea. Then we'll come on back after that, and I'll tell you what I think of the game. In the game, the players are going to be taking various actions, such as deploying their cards to the main island and using these small islands in order to gather these treasure cards and have the most points at the end of the game when we get to scoring. You are going to use this pad here for scoring at the end of the game, and after 5 rounds, whoever's got the most points is going to be the winner. So, the game is going to be played over a few different phases. The first one is basically a setup phase in which we clean up anything from the previous round, we flip over the next event, and everyone makes sure that they draw back up to 7 cards. Alright, so the event is going to affect something for the upcoming round. After that, we are going to take actions, and the actions are going to be one of 3 things. You can pass, you're done for the round. But the other ones are you can play cards to one of the locations around the big island. There are 2 locations around each side of the island here. Or you can discard a couple of matching cards to use one of the small islands up here. You would take its power and then flip it face down. Alright? So, the ship has started somewhere randomly right here now. It's pointing this way, so the locations that are going to score for treasure will be these 2 unless something changes. So let's say it's my turn. I'm going to go ahead and play. I can play as many cards as I want to, as long as they are the same color, to one of the locations around the island, and the numbers must be ascending. Some of the cards are going to have special powers, such as the one over here. If I play it as the first card like that, I'm going to give everyone else 1 curse token, which are these, and in fact every player will start with some of these already in front of them. By playing that number 1, I'm giving all the players 1 more curse token, so I would start with 4, they each get 1 more, and then my turn is over, and it would be the next player's go. The next player might then play a few cards to this other location. The only rule being that the colors must be different, the colors that go here. So a red column cannot be started there. So they play that. They're going to play this one. This one says that everybody who is in that stack can discard 1 of these curse cubes, and then that one lets everyone in the stack draw a card from the deck. Now, what do I mean by a stack? Well, upon playing somewhere that you haven't played before, you must deploy 1 of your compass tokens there. So I would have done this, and this blue player does that. Immediately upon playing that, gets rid of a cube, and upon playing that, draws a card into their hand. And then it's the next player's turn. This player is going to look at their hand. They've got some red cards here. Great. So they're going to play there. They add themselves to this stack. They get rid of a cursed cube. So do I, because my compass token is there. And then they play this one, which lets them draw a card, lets me draw a card. Fantastic. So we're kind of helping each other a little bit. Now, I'm only playing into these 2 stacks, but you can play into any of them around the island. You only have 3 of these compass tokens, but if you would need one, let's say I've already played there and there. If I want to start playing cards here and they're all in use, I can always abandon a place and move my compass token to that new location. Once this is done, the players have used some of these islands. For example, when it comes back around to me, I could discard a pair of matching cards, same color, and use one of these. Let's say I want to do this one. Upon triggering that one, I get rid of 3 corruption. Fantastic. And then I flip it face down. Once everyone has passed, first player to pass gets the captain token here, by the way. Then we are going to see if some treasure is divvied out in the upcoming location, wherever the ship is pointing. You need to have in a 3-player game at least 4 cards for it to score. So in this case, we have here 4 cards. Here we have 3. This side is not going to score at all, but this one will. And we are going to reveal and divvy out some treasure cards, all right? So let's see if we can add at least one more card there that maybe gives us some more treasure. There we go. Let's say that this card got played in there as well. We are going to reveal as many treasure cards as there are compass tokens plus these treasure symbols. So in this case, 1, 2, 3 cards. And then these are going to be taken by the players in the order that they approached the island, the side of the island, starting from the bottom. So the yellow player would take one of these, keep it, and then the white player would take one, keep it, and then the yellow player again gets the last one. When you take these, you may keep them for scoring. They're going to be worth some victory points. Every kind of treasure also possibly has a different kind of scoring opportunity, but you also get some corruption is listed in the top corner there. So if I want to take this, for example, I'm going to take 3 corruption and add it to my stockpile there. The other option is I can choose to discard one of these and get rid of some corruption instead. Once that's done, we are going to then check if the other one scores. Now, there's going to be a big scoring and a small scoring. The big one is whichever one has the most cards. The small scoring, in this case, doesn't happen at all. It needs at least 4 cards. But if it did have 4 cards, we reveal as many treasures as only the number of treasure chests in the pile, not the compasses. So, again, the big scoring is where you want to be. The other one might get you something, but isn't as profitable. Once that's done, we clean this up. Every compass out here goes back to the owner, and then we set up for the next round in which the ship moves to the next locations around the island. We are going to get rid of the event. We are going to reveal the new event. In this case, this event says that upon taking treasure, we actually go from the top of the stack to the bottom instead of the usual from the bottom to the top. And we are going to discard as many cards as we want to and draw back up to 7. Do it again. These events over here affect the things you can do, as I said. Get rid of corruption, move the ship an extra space, draw 2 cards, rearrange yourself in a stack so that you are at the bottom of said stack, things like that. And at the end of the 5th round, we are going to do some scoring. The very final thing that happens is we check how much corruption everyone has. If you have 13 or more, you are eliminated from the game. You cannot even win. But assuming that doesn't happen, then we reveal these healing cards, and everyone is going to take one. These are how you get rid of any corruption you still have left. You pay for that with various methods of paying. Some of these are clearly better than others. And then we score up the different treasures. As I said, they have many different ways of scoring, some of them quite complicated. The skulls, for example, you are going to score based on this card here. If I have 2 different skulls, then I get 3 times the numbers of other different kinds of treasure I have. That's kind of heady. It's going to take some explaining, for everyone to figure out how everything scores. Some of them are simply majorities. You want to have more of this kind of card than others, that sort of thing. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most points is going to be the winner of the whole thing. So again, that's a very rough, sort of brief overview of how the game flows. But let's go back up top and let me tell you how it feels. Alright, so that is Loot Island. Let me tell you what I think. Some good, some bad. Here we go. I love the look of the game and the quality of the components. The cards are very nice quality. Everything looks good. Iconography is, for the most part, very nice, so I have no problem with the way the game looks. I also like the tactics in the game. There's lots of good little thinky moments, lots of choices, lots of different things you can engage in order to accomplish your goals. Thinking ahead to upcoming rounds, managing when you do what. Do you go for the little islands early on in the round? When do you pass? So that you get that token. You're going to, if you do that at the end of the game also, you're going to get some victory points. There's a lot going on in the game tactically and strategically, so I like that. Some of the things I'm so on. The theme is nice. I like the corruption/curse thing. That's a nice thematic touch in the game. But overall, the game doesn't necessarily feel super thematic. The treasures don't really translate to scoring, The scoring's kind of a mess. I'll talk about that in 1 second, but So the theme is all right. It's not great. It's all right. Some of the things I don't like as much. The game feels too long to me. I think 5 rounds, especially with more players, just feels too long. It definitely, I would say, outstays its welcome a little bit. By that last round feels a little long, and then you've still got to do all the scoring at all the islands at the end. Didn't talk about that. But then anything that's still around the board, you still score. It's a long game for being a card game, you know? And then there's a ton of little rules in this game. There's a lot of little symbols, little things to take into consideration. Scoring, as I said, is kind of a mess. Everything scores in strange and unusual ways. At the end, you still got to flip over that one last card and then get rid of your corruption, anything you've got left. There's just a ton of scoring. It takes a while to get through it all. One last thing I want to mention, the game is not great with 2 players. It's I definitely like it with more. That's going to add to the game length and to the downtime a little bit, but it's the 2-player variant I'm not super thrilled with. It's good at 3 or higher than that. So overall, I do enjoy this game. I think it's a solid design. It's interesting. It's punchy. Lots packed in this small box. But the scoring is kind of a headache. Teaching it is kind of a headache. And the game does feel a little bit long. The box says 30 to 60 minutes. 60 minutes sounds about right. That still feels a little long for the actions you're taking in the game. You know, draw some cards and play some cards around the island. Everything takes one extra step. You know, it's converting cards to treasure, then drafting those treasures, and then do you keep the treasure? Do you chuck the treasure? Do you take corruption or get rid of it? How do the treasures score? Which ones should you be prioritizing? The event at the top of the round is yet another little rule that really doesn't need to be there, but it adds something, right? There's a lot of that. So overall, I do like it, though. This one's going to squeak into a seal of approval from me. I would certainly recommend it if you're looking for a crunchier card game with a little more going on in a small footprint, you know, with a theme that, while a little pasted on, does have some neat implications. So there you go. That is Loot Island. Again, seal of approval from me. I would recommend this one. Thanks, everybody, for checking this out with me, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.